In this video, I'm going to share some of the best tips and tricks inside of Canva for creating better designs. This is basically a masterclass on productivity and graphic design skills, so I hope you enjoy. Now, before we get going, I should note that most of these tips utilize tools and features using a Canva Pro account. If you don't already have a Canva Pro account, no problem. Click the link in the description of this video to sign up. We'll get a little kickback from Canva if you do, and you'll have access to the world's best design software, so it's a win-win. All right, now on to the video. And let's start things off with design hacks, or how to be a better designer in 10 seconds. Tip number 1, match image colors with graphic colors. One of the fastest ways to create cohesive designs is to simply select a color from the image you want to use for your design elements. In fact, if you look at most high-end designs, they almost always use this exact same technique. To select a color inside an image inside of Canva, select the object you want to recolor, and now select the part of the image you want to grab the color from. This will create a design that feels good. Real good. Tip number 2, never use drop shadow. Never use drop shadow. Just don't. It usually comes across as unprofessional, so instead, try to pick the right backgrounds, reposition elements, and change colors to help your design pop on screen without needing a shadow. Tip number 3, limit your design to 2 fonts. New designers tend to use way too many fonts in their design. This usually comes across as amateur or just plain ugly. Instead, only use 2 fonts in your design, one for the titles and one for the body copy. If you use more fonts than that, then your design is likely to come across as busy or unprofessional. Tip number 4, keep title sizes smaller than you think. If your design is going on a screen, then you want your titles to be about 20% smaller than you actually think they should be. Why is this? Well, I'm not entirely sure, but for some reason, when we design for screens, we tend to make titles too large. By scaling down your titles, you'll create negative space that will allow your overall project to breathe a little bit more. Namaste. Tip number 5, get better inspiration. The templates inside of Canva are awesome, but I do find that it's better to get professional inspiration from designers around the web. My favorite place to go for really good design work is Behance. It's essentially a place where professional designers show off their work to one another. If you ever have a big project, I will create a folder with the project name and find designs that support my creative direction. And that leads us to our next point. Tip number 6, design with whiteboards. Using a whiteboard space, you can copy and paste those inspiring design elements we just mentioned as references as you work through your design. To create a whiteboard space, simply click the Create a Design button and select Whiteboard. Now you can use the canvas to collect references and designs just like an artboard and other high-end design tools. Take that, Photoshop. Once you're ready to move your design to a canvas, you can just copy and then paste your elements and resize them as needed. Tip number 7, contrast the important parts. As humans, our eyes are drawn to points of contrast, where there is a big difference between the light and the dark parts of an image, like here, here, and here. So in your designs, make sure to remember that if you have any parts that are very contrasty, your audience's eyes will be drawn there first. If something is contrasty that is unimportant, try decreasing the contrast or changing the image entirely. Remember, you want to control your audience's eyes, like this, but nicer. Tip number 8, consistent spacing. Great designs should have consistent spacing. The great news is Canva has a tool that can help with developing consistent spacing very easily. Just select all of your elements, choose the position button at the top of the frame, and now you can evenly space your elements using consistent vertical or horizontal spacing. Tip number 9, the split the difference rule. Sometimes you want certain elements to be closer to other elements to create connection. This usually happens with titles and body copy, for example. In these instances, you can split the difference in spacing between all the other elements directly in half to create connection. In most of my designs, I will have a specific distance for space between elements and a half distance for elements that need to feel connected. Keeping these distances consistent will help your overall design to feel more connected. Now let's get into some design basics utilizing actual features inside of Canva. Tip number 10, remove the fluff. If you look at most professional designs in any industry, you'll typically see that they are very simple and utilize minimal design elements. Good interior design, minimal. Good architecture, minimal. Good graphic design, you get the point. New designers, on the other hand, often utilize designs that look a little like this. So a great tip is to simply remove any extra elements from your design. There's no room for freeloaders in graphic design. Tip number 11, negative space. Do you know why this design looks a heck of a lot better than this design? Well, it's all about negative space. Great design allows the audience to breathe. You shouldn't just cram all of your elements into every square inch of your design. Make sure your design has large enough sections that are empty to create a sense of order. Tip number 12, the grid system. If you don't know where to place images or text, you can use the grid system. Think about your design elements as a frame. Now, try to connect and align your text, your subtext, and any elements inside of this grid if possible. It's a quick way to ensure a great design. Tip number 13, the best fonts to use. We can spend years talking about typography, but instead here's a typography course in 30 seconds. There are two types of fonts, serif and sans serif. Serif fonts have those little tassels on the end of them. Sans serif fonts do not. Serif fonts come across as classy, elevated, and distinguished. That's why you see them here, here, and here. Sans serif fonts, on the other hand, come across as modern and cool. That's why you see them here, here, and here. The space between letters is called kerning. You want to make sure that the spacing is even between all of your letters, or it can be hard to read or even distort your message. Kerning mistakes are called kimming, and there's a hilarious Reddit channel dedicated to kimming mistakes. Luckily, most fonts in Canva have consistent kerning, but many times you may want to adjust the subtext letter spacing to make them seem more professional. Be careful about going overboard with handwritten style fonts. They can look cheap very quickly. The line between authentic and kitschy is, well, thin. My best advice for picking a font is to look at other designs in the style you're going with, and to try to pick a font reminiscent of the one they are using. Canva has some pretty good fonts already installed, and they even categorize the ones that are most popular directly at the top. Most of these are really great to use. Just keep it simple. Tip number 14, color theory in a nutshell. We could also spend years talking about color theory, but here's a color theory class in 30 seconds. This is a color wheel. Colors on the opposite ends tend to pop, like this, and this. Colors nearby each other tend to flow together, like this, and this. Desaturated colors that are found in nature are known as earth tones. These colors create a sense of warmth and authenticity. These are typically used on designs where a sense of authenticity or sustainability is important. Unnatural bright colors tend to create a sense of excitement and flair, and that's why they're often used in advertising. Avoid using red and green together because they come across as Christmassy. If you ever don't know what colors to use, simply pick a single color and then use lighter and darker variants of the same color. Or even better, go find an awesome design that you like and grab the colors from their design. I use the Color Pick eyedropper extension in Google Chrome so I can easily grab colors that I like from around the web. Every designer steals, borrows, colors from other designers. They just don't admit it. Tip number 15, consistent color schemes. If you're doing more than one design, try to keep colors consistent across all of your designs. This creates a sense of brand identity and makes your entire company feel more professional. If something has a completely different color design, it can come across as unconnected and it can cheapen your brand. With Curious Refuge, we try to make sure all of our emails, web pages, and videos all use the same color scheme. It helps to make everything feel, well, better. If time is money, you're about to become very rich, my friend, because this section will focus entirely on time-saving tips inside of Canva. Tip number 16, saving templates. Templates are an amazing way to share your designs with other people. To save a template in Canva, go to your design, select the share button at the top right corner of the page, and select template link. Now you can share this template with other people without messing up the original file. Tip number 17, brand colors, logos, and fonts. If you're a savvy designer, then you probably have a brand logo, a color scheme, and a font style that you try to stick with. Good for you. Well, instead of trying to remember all of that branding in your head, you can save those elements directly in the brand menu. From here, you can upload your logos, colors, and fonts that you want to use in your designs. Now, when you're hard at work on a design, they can be easily accessed from the sidebar menu. Tip number 18, brand templates. As a brand, you probably use similar designs again and again. Well, instead of searching for your design inside your project panel, you can save a design as a brand template by clicking Share and then hitting Brand Templates. Now you can access that design in the Brand Templates folder. This will create a simple place where you can update and access your brand's files and even share them with others who need access to the templates on a regular basis. Tip number 19, uploading fonts. You can add more fonts to your library than what are found directly inside of Canva. To add a new font in Canva, select the text box at the top of the canvas and select Upload a Font at the bottom of the page. Now you can access this font to use on your design projects. But you can also set this font as your brand's default font from the Brand Kit menu. This is perfect for all of your projects that need that bleeding cowboy font. Beautiful. Tip number 20, duplicating a design. There's no need to copy and paste elements from different projects. Instead, you can easily duplicate a design by clicking the 3 dots at the corner of a design and selecting Make a Copy. You can also duplicate a single page by selecting the Duplicate Page button inside your project. Tip 21, fast color schemes using styles. This tip is insanely cool. You can easily colorize an entire project by using the Style menu. Simply navigate to the Style tab and select either your predefined brand colors or the built-in color palettes created by Canva. You can also change a design's fonts to your brand fonts or just a predefined font template from this menu as well. You'll see that all of your new designs will reflect these new styles if you are using these templates. How cool is that? Tip 22, copy and paste images from around the web. Picture this. You go to the internet, you find an image that you're allowed to use, you download it, upload it to Canva, then import it into your design. If you've ever done this, you're wasting your time. Instead, simply copy and paste an image directly into your pages in Canva. This feature is simple, but it saves me so much time. Now let's talk about some bread and butter Canva tips that everyone should know. Tip 23, removing backgrounds from graphics. One of my favorite features in Canva is the background removal feature. To use it, just select your graphic and hit the background removal filter. It basically uses AI to remove backgrounds with just a click. You can use this feature to quickly remove backgrounds from graphics. Tip 24, removing backgrounds from images. But wait, there's more. Using this same feature, you can remove backgrounds from entire photos. Gone are the days of having to meticulously cut things out in Photoshop. Sorry again, Photoshop. This feature is shockingly good, so you'll be living a fake Instagram life in no time. Tip 25, using shaped framed image elements. Shaped frames are an awesome way to stylize images in your designs. You can find frames directly in the Elements menu and simply drag a photo onto them. But I like to take it one step further. I will import a photo into the frame, remove the background, then I'll add in a shape that's the same shape as the width of the frame. From there, I will choose my brand colors to create a really cool design that feels custom branded. Tip 26, the alignment tool. Keeping all of your elements aligned is essential for helping your design to feel cohesive. So instead of eyeballing it, just select all of your elements, click Position, and from here you can select whichever alignment makes sense for your project. It's like having a digital bubble level. Tip 27, the grouping tool. Sometimes you may have multiple elements that you'd like to combine into a single group. To group your elements inside of Canva, simply hold down the Shift key and select all of the elements you want to add. Then simply hit Command G to group them. If your elements decide they want to break up, well, that's no problem. You can ungroup a group inside of Canva by hitting Shift, Command, and G. Tip 28, quick animation GIFs. GIFs are a super fun way to make your online designs have more life. And the best part is, Canva is super helpful for animating objects and creating GIFs. To animate any part of your design, simply select your element and click the Animate button. There are a ton of different styles that you can choose to animate. And personally, as someone who has spent many years teaching and learning After Effects, I gotta say that this feature in Canva is only just a little annoying because anybody can animate with just a few mouse clicks. But you know what? That's besides the point. Once you're happy with the way your animation looks, you can save your GIF by clicking the Share button and select GIF from the drop-down menu. Now you can share it with your friends and wait for their response. It won't be long now. Tip 29, creating charts. Need to create a quick chart for a super fun business meeting? Well, no problem. Instead of designing it by hand, you can create a chart easily by visiting the Elements tab and selecting Charts. Now just select the chart and add in the information. Tip 30, Resizing Designs. You can easily resize a design in seconds using the magic resizer tool inside of Canva. Just navigate to the Resize button in the top left corner of the screen and select the different sizes that you want to use from the drop-down menu. When you're ready, select Resize and boom! You'll now magically have all of these new sizes created for all of your designs. Tip 31, locking elements. You can lock elements to prevent them from being moved by selecting the element and hitting the lock button in the top right corner of the canvas. Tip 32, business logos. Let's say you need to make a logo for a business. What are you gonna do? Well, in the past, you would have to go hire a designer, wait a few weeks, and end up with a logo that probably looked like this. Woof. Well, there's a better way. Just go to Canva's logo templates. There are 1,000,004 logos to pick from, but the search feature makes it easier to filter the results. In our case, we'll create a logo for a spicy sparkling water company that I think is just a brilliant idea. I personally recommend using a logo that is visually simple and would look great whenever it's scaled up, but also when it's scaled down. Now let's get ready for some finger jujitsu with some of my favorite keyboard shortcuts for saving time inside of Canva. Tip 33, option drag for duplicating. To quickly duplicate something inside of Canva, hold down the option key and drag. You can also hit Command D to duplicate an element as well, or just copy and paste. The choice is totally up to you, but choose wisely. Tip 34, alt drag for scaling proportionally. Instead of scaling from a corner and moving an element over, you can option drag from the corner of an element to have it proportionally scale from the middle. Tip 35, select all elements. You can select all elements inside of your design by hitting Command A. There are also many different shortcuts for adding elements into your scene. So, for example, you can add a line by clicking the letter L. You can add a rectangle by clicking the letter R. You can add a circle by clicking the letter C. And you can add in text by clicking the T key. You can also edit text using all of the same text modifiers that you're used to using inside of tools like Google Docs. So to bold, you can just hit Command B. To underline, you can hit Command U. To italic, you can hit Command I. I could also go into all of the other text shortcuts, but to be fully honest, they're a little boring, so you know what? I won't. Now let's talk about presentation tips. You may not realize this, but Canva is one of the most intuitive and powerful presentation tools in the world. In my opinion, it's 10 times better than PowerPoint. I'm so sorry, PowerPoint. Canva is an essential tool if you give presentations on a regular basis. So if everyone in the audience could just please quiet down, I'm going to begin this presentation. Tip number 40, recording presentations. You probably already know that you can present your designs like a slideshow by clicking the share button and selecting present. However, you may not realize that you can also record your presentation screen at the exact same time. Just go to share, present, and select present and record. From here, you can choose to have a video bubble where you're at the bottom corner of the screen, or just the entire screen recorded. This is an incredible way to make informative videos like the one you're watching right now. You can also download the videos after you record them from the menu at the top. Tip 41, notes for presenting. Instead of trying to remember all of your presentation notes off the top of your head, you can actually write down all of the notes that you want to see during your presentation by clicking the Notes tab at the bottom of the page. And then you just simply go in and write your notes for the whole presentation. Now, if you go to your presenter view, you will be able to see the notes in your sidebar. However, if you're recording your screen, Canva won't actually show those notes in the recorded presentation. It's pretty cool. Tip 42, chat during presentations. Presentations are great, but making them interactive is so much better. And if you agree with me, leave a comment below with your favorite ice cream flavor. I'm just kidding, you don't have to do that. Let's say you're speaking at a trade convention and you want your audience to be able to ask you questions while you're doing your presentation. That's no problem. Just click the Canva Live tab and select Start New Session. From the presentation screen, you can show the link to your audience so they can join the chat. Now, when they post a new chat, you will directly see it inside of your sidebar. And if you really like one of the chat questions or comments that people send over, you can make it bigger for your entire audience to see inside of your presentation. It's a great idea to set up this chat at the beginning of your presentation so that everyone is just super excited to engage with what you're presenting. Tip 43, presentation countdown timer. You may want to give your audience a countdown timer to get everyone excited for your epic presentation. Well, to create a countdown, simply select any number from 0 to 9 from your presentation page. Now a countdown timer will start. And the best part is your audience will see the countdown timer, but you can still review your notes without any distraction. It's a good idea to have an intro slide encouraging folks to join the chat during this time if you'll have an interactive chat box. Once the timer hits 0, you can hit the X key to clear your screen. Tip 44, making your presentations funner. There are some really fun keyboard shortcuts for spicing up your presentations. Some of my favorites are blurring the screen with the B key, a drum roll with the D key, a mic drop with the M key, and my personal favorite, confetti with C. You can see a full list from the keyboard shortcuts inside the presentation menu. Tip 45, remote control. Let's say you're giving a presentation on your screen, but you want to control the slides from your phone. Well, that's no problem. Just go to your presentation, click the 3 dots, and select Share Remote Control. Now you can copy the link and control this deck from any device in the world. And you can activate the most important feature as well. All of the tips up to this point have been leading us to this specific moment in time. Here are some pro tips inside of Canva. Tip 46, delivery formats. This is an important tip that you really need to know. In Canva, when you save a file, there are different formats that you can choose from. However, if you're like most people, you probably either pick JPEG or PDF 90% of the time. But these formats aren't right in many different situations. So instead, here's a 30-second course on delivery formats inside of Canva. JPEGs are great for regular photographs. However, if you save a JPEG with graphics, it will create weird artifacting on the edges, so don't do that. PNGs are great for graphics and illustrations, but if you try to save a regular image as a PNG file, the file size is going to be pretty large. Standard PDFs are perfect for digital documents. Print PDFs are great for printing. SVGs are great for web graphics. MP4 video is a video format, but it's also highly compressed, so if you ever need an MP4 video from Canva, it's usually best to export it as double the size you need so it retains your graphic information. A GIF is an animated sequence of images. The quality isn't great, but what they lack in quality, they make up for in hilarity. Tip 47, transparent backgrounds. PNGs and SVGs are great because you can actually save them with transparent backgrounds. So instead of a regular rectangular background, you can export them in any shape you want. To export, just go to PNG or SVG and select the transparent background button before you save. Now your element will be downloaded with a transparent background. Tip 48, sending prototypes. Sometimes you may want to send a design to a client without any of the Canva branding. Well, Canva calls these prototypes, and you can link to the prototypes by selecting the Share button and selecting More, then selecting Share Prototype. Now you can share this link with your clients, your friends, or anyone else who needs to see the design. Tip 49, changing logo colors. What happens if someone sends you a logo in one color, but you need to recolor it to another one for something like, let's say, a website? Well, easy peasy, here's how it's done. Import the logo into Canva and activate the background removal tool. Now you have an isolated logo. To colorize the logo, go to Edit Image and select the Duo Tone Color filter and select from the presets. Now change both colors to the color you want your logo to be. Tip 50, QR code generator. When I first heard about QR codes, I thought they were gimmicky. But now, a decade later, they are one of the best tools for quickly sharing website links. Don't believe me? Just scan this link. Don't worry, I'll wait. Canva comes equipped with a QR code generator, so you can easily turn any design into a QR code by simply clicking the Share button and selecting More, and then hit QR code. From here, you can define your target URL and select which design page you want to use. And once you're ready, you can just download the design directly to your computer. I also like using this feature with a simple blank background. You could then import your QR code into a design and save it as a file like a PDF with the QR code on the design itself. Tip 51, collaboration commenting. If you're collaborating on a project, it can be really helpful to get direct feedback on a design by adding comments into your elements. So to collaborate in this way, simply share the design with the person you're looking for feedback from. Now anybody can select any element, right-click, and select Comment. This new comment will have a text thread that can be checked off once a comment is resolved. Tip 52, graphic search tool. I love this tip. There are a ton of icons and designs inside the Elements tab, but let's say you need something specific. Well, to narrow down your results even further, simply select the Filters button and choose the filters based on your specific design requirements like color, background, transparency, and more. But if you really like a design style, you can filter down further by selecting the three dots and selecting the option to view more from that specific designer. This will pop up a new menu that will allow you to only see results from that specific designer. Now, just like before, you can search to get designs in a very similar style. Tip 53, linking from designs with PDFs. Okay, sure, you can export a PDF with a website URL in it, but did you know you can actually link from that PDF to other websites? Here's how it's done. Just select the element that you want to link and select the link icon from the top navigation. You can also hit Command K to save some time. Now drop in your link. When you export, make sure you hit the standard PDF button, and now you'll be able to click the link from the downloaded document. Tip 54, the GIF Library. You can access tons of meme-worthy GIFs using Giphy from the app menu. From the search, you can access millions of great GIFs. Personally, I love this feature, but what do you think? Oh, thanks. Tip 55, the Map tool. You can add Google Maps directly into your designs. To use a map, just go to the app library and select Google Maps. Now just type in the place and click to add it into your design. Tip 56, YouTube videos. In a similar way, you can also embed YouTube videos directly in your designs. Just navigate to Apps and select YouTube. From here, you can search for the video that you want to include. Now, when you present your design, you'll have a YouTube video that you can play back with sound. You've just leveled up, and it's time to look at a few legendary tips inside of Canva. Tip 57, quick websites. Did you know that you can actually create websites inside of Canva? It's absolutely bonkers. While I wouldn't recommend this system for any long-term sites, it's a great way to do a quick landing page. To create a site, simply select a website template, customize the design, and click Publish Website. You can also pick a free Canva domain or purchase your own domain for a fully customized website. For this example, I'm just going to use the free Canva domain. And remember those YouTube videos and Google Maps? Well, they still work in your new website. It's pretty sweet. Tip 58, social publishing. You probably design social content directly in Canva, which totally makes sense. But did you know you can publish your social content directly from Canva as well? This saves a ton of time from having to download the design and upload it to social media. Once you're happy with the design, simply select Share on Social Media from the Share menu. Hit the account you want to share to, connect the account, and boom, you're good to go. Tip 59, social scheduling. Don't want to share your post right away? Well, that's no problem as well. Just select Share on Social and hit the schedule icon. This will allow you to schedule your design for a future date. I recommend trying out this tool a couple of times before you start relying on it for long-term sharing. Tip number 60, animation formats. Anybody can create a good design using templates, but if you give your design movement, it can really stand out. I like to animate my designs using the built-in animate feature. Just select the text or elements you want to animate and choose the animation style of your choosing. But how do you know which format to save as? Well, if you're using simple graphics for a website, use the SVG setting. If you're using complex images for online sharing, use a GIF. And if you're using many complex elements for social sharing, just use a video. Tip 61, select elements from behind other elements. Let's say you want to select an element at the bottom of a stack of many layers. What are you supposed to do? Move them all out of the way one by one? Wrong. Just hold down Command and click until you select the right element. Now you can move and scale that element as you need. Tip 62, get better photos. The built-in stock photos in Canva are good, but you can get even better photos by navigating to Apps and selecting the Pexels app. From here, you can access millions of really nice high-quality images that you can use on any project for free. Tip 63, access brand logos. If you do a lot of presentations, you may need to access brand logos from time to time. However, instead of running to Google to get brand logos, you can simply use the Brand Fetch app and have an entire database of brand logos at your disposal. This is perfect for any project you may be working on. Tip 64, the Tidy Up feature. A while ago, I talked about having equal spacing in designs. It's really important to have equal spacing if you want your entire design to feel cohesive. But instead of having to eyeball the design by hand, you can simply select all of the elements that you want to align and hit the Tidy Up feature. This is a more advanced feature that will create consistent spacing both horizontally and vertically. Tip 65, downloading specific items. Let's say you need to download a few specific things from your design and not the entire design itself. What are you going to do? Well, you could create a new design, adjust the size, remove the unnecessary elements, and save. But that would be tedious. Instead, just select the elements you want to export, right-click, and select Download Selection. This is a much faster way to access your elements. Tip 66, font pairing. Picking fonts that go well together can be tricky. If left to your own devices, you might pick Bleeding Cowboy and Comic Sans. I don't want this to happen to you, so if you're ever in a pinch and unsure about which fonts to use, there's a great blog article over on Canva's website that has a great list of font pairings and examples. I can't recommend this resource enough. If you're new to the world of typography, it's a fantastic tool to use. You won't regret it. Tip 67, brand controls. If you work with more than one designer, it can be really challenging to make sure all of your designs have the same general style. You can fix this in Canva very easily by using the Brand Controls tab. From here, you can restrict colors and fonts to be limited to the ones defined in your brand guidelines. And if your brand is big enough to have a creative director, you can have your designers submit projects for approval before they can actually export their designs. Tip 68, Color Palette Library. You should never pick colors by hand. It's almost always better to use a color palette that's been created by a pro. Like I said earlier, you can steal, borrow, colors that other designers have used, or you can use Canva's color palette library to find a really good color scheme. And if you want, you can even upload an image and get color schemes directly created from that picture. Tip 69, importing PDFs. By this point, you know that you can export PDFs, but did you know you can actually import PDFs directly into Canva as well? Just import your PDF and select the elements to start editing. This allows you to change the design to your liking and utilize Canva's design elements and editing features to add your own creative flair. Tip 70, smart mockups. A mockup is a super quick way to visualize how your graphic will look in the real world. It can also be used to create a pretend prototype, which can increase the perceived value of your designs. This book is worth like $10, but this book is worth at least $14. To create a mockup, just import an image that you want to use as a mockup. In this case, I will use this design. Now select your image and click Edit Image. Go to the Smart Mockups tab and select See All from the menu. From here, you'll see a few dozen different mockups that you can use to create prototypes. Select the one that you want to use and click again to open up the Settings menu. From here, you can adjust your designs as needed. Tip 71, print your designs. Canva has a built-in print shop on demand at any time. If you ever want to put your designs on real-world swag like hoodies, canvases, or tote bags, you can easily print them. Just go to the Share button and select Print Your Design. You will probably need to resize your design to the exact specs of the print option, but once you've checked all your bases, you can print directly from Canva. Plus, they guarantee all their prints, so if you're not happy with the quality, they will make it right. And they've also partnered with print shops like FedEx to allow you to pick up prints locally as quickly as possible. Tip 72, Blemish Removal. You can utilize the power of AI to remove blemishes from your photos. Just select the photo and go to Edit Image and select Face Retouch. Now you can adjust the settings as needed. These changes are subtle, but the AI integration makes the corrections very natural compared to normal blemish removal tools. Tip 73, AI artwork. If you're into AI artwork, then you've probably used tools like Midjourney or DALL-E to create some cool designs. But you may not realize that Canva actually has an AI artwork tool directly inside as well. Just navigate to the Apps panel and select Text to Image. From here, you can type in just about any design idea in the world. For our example, we're going to say a Renaissance painting of a dog driving a motorcycle. Your new artwork will be auto-generated, and it can even be used with the built-in editing tools like the background remover. Tip 74, Magic Blurs. Typically in beautiful photography shots, you will have a subject with a blurry background. However, sometimes you will only be given a photo where the entire frame is in focus. But that's no problem, we can make any photo look professional inside of Canva. Simply import your image into your canvas. Now select Edit Image and navigate to the Autofocus button. Canva will now interpret your photo and use AI to create a realistic blur. And the craziest part is, you can actually adjust the blur distance and the level of blurring as if you're actually focusing in a real camera. How is this even real? If you'd like to join our community of designers and entrepreneurs who can give you feedback on your design projects, click the link below this video. You'll be able to join our Discord group, and I'll even give you a PDF with all of the tips listed in this video for free. And just look at that mockup, man, this is just a really valuable PDF. We also have a weekly newsletter that's full of fun links and resources that you can share with your friends and coworkers. You can sign up by clicking the link below this video as well. Thank you so much for watching this video, and if you have any recommendations for a future one, be sure to let us know in the comments below. Shelby and I are super grateful for everyone who contributes to Curious Refuge. Thank you so much for being an awesome member of this community, and we'll see you in the next one.